sales process is broken? Did you get the memo? Hey, it's time we get real and admit the things we've been doing up to now, or the things we've been doing really all along, have just not been working. Let's unpack it, and the show begins right now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter Podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
Broken. What does this mean? Hey, what this means very simply is this. Have you noticed that people are not responding like they used to? Sure, this has been trending downward for years, but what is it that we're supposed to do? Let me tell you something. The number one challenge we have to do is we have to, first of all, get serious and get real, that we have to get tight with our prospecting list. The days of having 1,000 leads, 1,000 prospects, even 100 many times, is just simply not doable. It is about getting very, very tight because it's harder than ever to reach anyone. What we have to be is we have to really realize that less becomes more. Now, you've heard me talk about this before, but let's really get serious about this. Here's the situation. Our customers know more about everything than we ever realize. They absolutely do. They are incredibly brilliant. They're incredibly smart. So what does this mean? It means information has been democratized. Now, what this also means is that customers have opinions. This is one of the reasons why customers are far less hesitant to really reach out and have a conversation with us until they're absolutely ready to buy, because they don't want to have their opinions changed. They feel they've got the information. They know what they need to do. They know what they need to buy, and they're just ready to make the decision. Okay, but here's the problem. Our job is to de-educate the customer. Okay, what did you say? I said de-educate the customer. Because what many times happens is the customer comes up with opinions, comes up with conclusions that are not the best for them. And this hurts people. I see this happen all the time. I have done this myself. I have been absolutely adamant about buying this or buying that. And suddenly I talk to somebody who's a little more of an expert. And I realize that, whoa, what I'm doing is I'm making a bad decision. This is where you, the salesperson, earn your keep. And this is where we really are doing our customers a service by helping them. Because what they've done is they've allowed themselves to go out and gather the information. It's what the internet allows you to do. But they've reached wrong conclusions. Okay, so what does it come down to? It really comes down to you asking them questions. But how do we set this up? How do we do this? I'll explain here in just a second. You see, the questions we ask are going to allow us to really understand kind of where they're coming from. Now, it's our goal to take what they share with us and begin to conclude, okay, is that right or is that wrong? And again, they may have great information. Terrific, great. I want to compliment them on it. But I don't know this until I begin to ask them questions. Now, here's the reason I'm asking them questions. I'm doing two things. One, it demonstrates to them that I value their opinion. Okay, again, I've talked about that before. But two, it gets them to explain further, because there's always a reason behind the reason. In other words, they may say that they need to buy X, and they say that, but there's something behind it. The more questions you ask, and I'm not asking you to belabor the discovery call process, no. What I'm saying is that you need to make sure that the customer, really understands why are they making this decision and making this decision now. Wow, I can't talk this morning. You see, it's our goal then to take their response. You may need to ask them a follow-up question, but then you come back around and you share a story relative to that. See, stories have an amazing way of creating a neutral effect that the customer can believe in and they accept. Now, the story has to be one that they can relate to, one that they can see themselves in. This is, again, why I say I can't be prospecting broad and far. I got to be prospecting tight and narrow. because I've got to have enough stories to be able to fit and line up with everybody who I'm going to be potentially talking to. And this is going to take some time to develop those stories. Now, what I do then is I share the story, and then I ask them a question on the story. In other words, what I'm doing now is I'm trying to judge how much are they buying into it? What are they believing? What's their feeling afterwards? Here's a situation. I can't convince you. I can't tell you to change. But if I lay out a scenario, you can see yourself changing. Now, does all of this happen in a single sales call? No. We'd love to. We'd love to have it happen in a single sales call, but it typically does not. This may happen over a period of 3, 4, 5 calls, and that's okay. In fact, I will contend this. I create more trust when I have it over a period of phone calls. I absolutely do, because the customer now sees me returning to the point where they're at and picking it up and continuing further. In other words, I'm valuing their opinion. Okay, now, how do you go about doing this? Because again, this is going to take more time. And this is why I say you can't be chasing 1,000 prospects. Less becomes more. Now, every prospect, you got to realize, has got different questions. They've got different expectations. And that means they probably got a slightly different value prop. This is why I say I got to be narrow versus broad. Okay, now, how do you go about doing this? What I'm going to ask you to do is to write down and record for the next couple of weeks every statement that gets shared with you. Write it down. And what you're going to do is you're then going to say, okay, what's the logical question that comes off of it? What's the next question? And then what's the story that comes off it? In other words, what you're doing is you're building a bank. You are looking to build a bank of questions, a bank of stories. This is where you, the professional, really come into play. Andy Greenberg has jumped in with a great question. Andy, I love this. When people resist change, I always tell the story of the ketchup bottle. Yeah, you're right. Remember, it used to be standing right side up. Now it's kind of upside. No, is it upside down? Is it right side up? Oh, you see, we changed the paradigm. And I love that. I love that story, Andy. Thank you for chiming in this morning. You see, what is it about? It's about reaching the customer where they're at. And this is the problem with too many sales processes. It's been this preach, preach, preach. Here's what you got to do. Here's what you have to do. No, the customer is incredibly intelligent. They know what's happening. And as a result, we have got to back off. Now, here's where you're going to find yourself. In 30 to 60 days, you will have built out a list of questions and a list of stories that is going to increase your level of confidence. Now, here's something fascinating. Customers don't buy when the salesperson's confident. They buy when they're confident, because the customer doesn't want to make a fool of themselves. Now, does that mean you don't have to be confident? No, you absolutely have to be confident. And you become more confident because of the questions you're asking and the stories you're sharing and the dialogue, the comfortable dialogue that you're having, that you can handle the customer wherever they go. Hey, what have we been talking about this morning? We've been talking about how your sales process is absolutely broken. One of the expressions I love to use is that your reputation arrives before you do, because again, this is part of the customer educating themselves. So guess what? I firmly believe that in future years, future months, future quarters, we're going to wind up with more inbound leads than ever, because our information is known widely. Hey, do me a favor. Check out my new book, Integrity First Selling. Release date, February 17th. I want you to pick up a copy of it, because I unpack this, what we've been talking about, and a whole lot more. Hey, the Sales Center podcast, 2 episodes a week, one like this, short, single topic. Second episode with a subject matter expert where we dive in. All of it is designed to do one thing: to help you see and achieve what you didn't think was possible. My name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Center. Check out the book, Integrity First Selling. Great selling.